Hello everybody and welcome to my YouTube channel, Art Classes My Way. Today we are doing a new weave and I'm just covering up the old weave here. There's nothing that I'm really hiding other than something that doesn't match what I'm doing. So what we are going to be doing is this lovely little wheat, at least that's what I want to call it. Being from Indiana, we are the land of corn, as everybody very well knows. I like this little guy. He's a nice little corn, wheat, crop looking weave, and he's just this nice little detail touch. You can do a whole lot more of them, and as far as to the spacing of them, really the number on here doesn't matter so much. You at least, if you want to put them practically side by side, you at least want two little wraps before you start making a new one, so that way there's just, or even just one wrap beyond the bottom wheat or corn leaf there, so that way there's a little bit more distance between it and where the next one starts, so that way they're not so on top of each other that while you're trying to mush it together that they just all get all loppy-jawed. Now while you're doing this, it kind of pretty much ends up looking very much like this, and then you can just take your fingernails and slide it together. The back also makes for a lovely little interesting weave. It's kind of in the negative. I also like that one as well. That one makes me think more of the individual grains on the head of wheat or tall, larger farmable grasses. And this guy just makes me think of a little bit more like corn. And you can do this with any number of base wires. I'm using 5 for this one just to give it a little bit more emphasis, make it seem a little bit taller, and so that way it would have a little bit better of a show for you guys on the camera. You can do it a whole lot shorter. I've done it with just 3 base wires. It looks lovely, it looks nice, but you don't get this nice feeling of crops coming up out of the ground, or even an autumn, just before the autumn harvest. So that's pretty much what we're going to be doing, and it is super, super easy. I will be talking through this one rather than showing you how it is done. Now, personally, because I started this wrong and upside down, I'm starting this guy from the back a little bit, and you can flip-flop him back and forth if you want. That's not so much of a big deal. And let's see here, I'll just put another hoop around. Now when you are on your last hoop, instead of coming around the bottom, we are instead just going to go around the top of the next one. You can see. And again, this is from behind, from the back, and you just put a loop there, and we do that all the way up to the very top wire. So I will go ahead and do that. Just going around and around. There. Now you can see the little bits of wheat there, and on the top one. Now the top one is where it becomes a bit of a sticky wicket. So once you have done your top piece, we are going to kind of invert things here a little bit. So we are going to skip down one underneath here, slide him over, and then we're just going to go around that bottom wire. So we went around this guy completely, the top one, I mean. And then once we get all the way around the top one and we're on the back, then we want to skip down to our second wire here, number 2. And then we go around, and we're basically reversing directions when we are doing that. And you'll know when you did it right, because when you flip him over, it'll look appropriate. And if you, as long as you're not doing it backwards like I currently am, that won't, you'll be seeing it. It won't be as big of an issue. And this is one of the few weaves that I think looks beautiful regardless of which direction you end up choosing, the back or the front of the weave. Because like I said, it looks like two different things to me. Alright, so we go all the way down to the bottom, wrap around, and when we smoosh him together, he looks just like the other side. Now when you have the wheat, there is a gap underneath here, which is really nice for when you're doing pieces where you are attaching, so this makes a nice little gap for you to put a sewing wire through to sew something on to this, or adding more wires essentially. And when we flip him over, he looks just lovely as can be, where that gap is a little bit more filled in, and then you just wrap around the very bottom base wire. I like to call that very bottom one 0. But you can have your own system. He's 0 because he is the ground floor. He is your rock. And you can just wrap that around as many times for the amount of distance that you want to put in between your little pieces of wheat. And one more time. Now we go around the back, go around your next wire, around the back, up to your next wire, and go around it. Let me put some length here. Come on. And then around, completely around, and back, and around, whoop, the top entirely. Now, from here, we are going to go to the bottom of the wire that's underneath your topmost wire. Instead of going around, or you go around and up, I'm going to go through the bottom, so that way you're ending the top, and you kind of reverse it. You can always double check yourself to make sure that you did do it correctly on the other side. And I guess really the biggest problem is with me teaching this one is I did learn to do it backwards. Yep, and I put that around the wrong wire there, sorry. Alright, nice long bit right there, you can see. All pretty. Around and around and around. And then however many times you want around the bottom. All right, and 3 little wheats. Or, if you like, you can flip it over, 3 little corn. I do like this weave. It is something that just feels very organic and very simple to do. But it just feels like there's so much more life to it than a good many of the weaves. All the weaves are fantastic and awesome, and I know that there are probably proper names for these weaves. I am not a somebody who's worked with fabrics and materials very much. I barely know how to crochet a square, and you're lucky if it actually comes out to be a square at the end of the project. Like both my grandmothers have won many awards for their crocheting. I am not that good. They have tried and tried. But, so you can kind of see that there. This is a simple weave. It is a beautiful weave, and it is a fun weave to do. And for all of you who may be wondering about this lovely little weave, that is a video that I posted last week as a weaving video, and it is predominantly a silent weaving video. I'm experimenting with how to possibly do these different weaves and how to present them to you all. I don't know. I don't want to treat you guys like you don't know what's going on, that you're not intelligent enough to figure it out just by watching me. But I don't know what's best for everyone. Feel free to give me comments, suggestions, what you do and don't like, if you'd rather me keep talking through the videos or not. Your choice. Just let me know if I'm doing something right or wrong by you guys, because without you guys, there's no point in doing it, right? Or making videos on it anyway. So there's a lovely little wheat or corn weave, whatever you want to call it. A lot of fun. Again, this is Art Classes My Way, and please leave a like. Please subscribe if you feel so inclined. And also, the most important thing, leave comments in the comments section letting me know what you would like to learn. Is there a specific weave you've seen somewhere that you would like to know about? Or, you know, post a picture and say, how did they do this part? I am more than happy to help out with that. So, you guys, thanks for coming and hanging out, and have a wonderful day.